Hi, John Dwyer again, and welcome to our WOW Manifesto Client Attraction Program. This is Module 9, and this is all about, let me do the drum roll, delivering extraordinary customer service. Now, notice this word here, extraordinary. Not ordinary customer service or good customer service, but extraordinary customer service. The reason I'm making a big deal out of that is that when I meet so many business owners, and I say to them, look, what is your point of difference? What is your gosh factor, or what is your wow factor, or what distinguishes you from your competition? I get that lame response, and they're pretty serious, by the way. I think it's a lame response. They don't. They go, oh, our customer service. I normally go, what do you mean your customer service? They go, oh, we give great customer service. I said, well, nobody will even know that until they experience it, by the way. So that's not going to be exactly what I would call a great lead generation tactic. Nonetheless, of course, it's a great repetitive trade tactic. And I say to them, well, what makes your customer service so good? They go, oh, well, we always answer the phone within 5 rings, and we always follow up inquiries within 24 hours, and we always shake their hands, and we've got a smile on our face, and so on and so forth. And I just stare at them blankly like this, like I'm staring at you at the moment, blankly like that. And I say to them, there's nothing special about that. I mean, everybody expects that you would answer the phone within 5 rings, that you would shake their hand, that you would welcome them to your premises or to your website, and that you would follow up their inquiry within 24 hours. I mean, what's the big deal in that? What, am I supposed to get excited because you followed up my query within 24 hours? Everyone expects good customer service. What they don't expect in this day and age is extraordinary, knock your socks off, crazy, wild customer experiences. Now notice the word experience versus service. When was the last time you went to a restaurant and you spent $100 or $200 on a lovely meal with your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it is, business colleague? When was the last time that you went to a restaurant and you were blown away? Because not only when you had your main meal and you had your entree, your main meal, and then they said, would you like dessert? And you went, oh no, look, because we're always looking after our weight. No, thank you anyway. But then they brought out a sample tray with all little pieces of their desserts. A little sample of the tiramisu, a little sample of the cheesecake, a little sample of whatever it might be. And there was 4 or 5 little samples. We're talking bite-sized pieces. And they said, look, we know you said you didn't want dessert, but we just want to say thank you for choosing our restaurant. And here's a little sample plate so that when you come back sometime in the future, at least you'll know what our desserts taste like. Do you think that would blow most couples away? They just, wow, of course it would. That's extraordinary customer experience. You can say, look, that's wow factor as well, but it's really customer experience. And then, guess what? When you've had the cup of coffee at the end of your meal, without even asking, they come along and give you a complimentary second coffee. What would it cost them? 40 cents? And that would blow, you've just spent $200, by the way, so big deal, 40 cents. Do you think that would blow you away? And that restaurant experience that you've had, not customer service, that experience that you've had would be water cooler conversation in the corridor at work on Monday? I think it would be. So that's what this is all about, delivering extraordinary customer experiences. Forget about giving good service, everybody does that. Okay, so the second thing I've got here is I'm looking down, I'm looking here, I've got my laptop here. I want to show you how to deliver Disney style, knock their socks off extraordinary customer experiences. And here in Australia, we have a couple of I guess you'd call them discount airlines, and whatever country of the world in the world you're watching this, you would have EasyJet or whatever it may be that might be your budget airline. In Australia, Virgin Airlines is not so much a budget airline. In fact, they'd probably middle ground. Qantas normally would charge more money for flights in Australia. Virgin might be 2/3. This is not all the time, but just for the sake of the exercise, might be 2/3 of the pricing. Jetstar here are what we call our budget airline. Now, the thing is that when you go to Virgin Airline, and I'm a member of their, I think they call it the Velocity Club, so it's a reward program. You go to any airport, major airport in Australia, and I can walk straight in with my little gold card into the lounge. And you are treated just like the royal family when you go in there. Beautiful smorgasbord food, wine, beer, any spirits that you want. Beautiful barista-made coffee, not by some little 16-year-old who's behind a machine going pretending that, that it's a barista coffee. We're talking proper coffee machines, beautiful sort of ambience, newspapers, TVs everywhere. I am treated like yeah, the King of England. And I feel pretty special. Would I ever leave Virgin Airlines to go to Jetstar? No, I wouldn't. Even when I go to the counter to check in, I'm able to go to the red carpet section. I don't know whether it's red carpet, it might be purple carpet for their colours, but anyway, you know what I mean. I go to the carpet section that says Velocity members, of which, thank you very much, I'm a Velocity member, okay? I do a bit of travel, obviously, with what I do. I go to Jetstar. They don't have any lounge. They just don't have any lounge at all. And when I get to the counter, instead of having the very engaging, beautifully dressed, Virgin attendant, if I go to Virgin, I go to the Jetstar counter, there's every chance in the world that I'm going to be greeted with a Gestapo type stare asking me why I was not here 5 minutes ago. I'm sorry, goodness me, we're going to turn off the check-ins within 2 minutes. You ran close on this one. Now I'm exaggerating for the sake of humour, but Jetstar just has no clue, in my opinion, when it comes to customer service. Okay, so they are really a budget airline, and you might say, well, that's what you get, JD, when you fly a budget airline. I try not to fly them, but sometimes I have to do a seminar in a particular location, and Virgin may not have flights to that location, so I've got to go Jetstar, and I always go, oh no, I don't want to fly them. But anyway, I guess I'm saying that, and some of my gags, my dad jokes at my seminars are, get your children to grow up to be Virgin, not Jetstar. Okay, Virgin they just know. I mean, I don't know how every single employee that they have, both male and female, 9 out of 10 when it comes to appearances. I don't know how every one of their hostesses looks like Miss World, but Richard Branson's been able to get away with it. And Virgin just know how to blow you away with customer experiences, not just good customer service. Now, the next point I want to bring up here is Disney. And it's not surprising. I started by saying to you that Disney know how to provide good customer experiences. And if you actually go to any one of their theme parks, their employees are actually known as cast members. Now, we've got 6 kids. My wife, Gail, and myself have 6 adult children these days. And one of my Gen Y kids from here in Australia flew to America and worked for Disney for between 6 and 12 months at Walt Disney World. And he just said to me it was an unbelievably valuable experience, because he's come back to Australia after that experience and just knows so much more about running businesses, but also so much more about delivering extraordinary customer experiences. With the feedback that I've gotten from him, combined with the fact that I've spent a lot of time at Disney conferences over in the US, so therefore I've spent a lot of time doing Disney 1-week conferences at Disney World in Florida, and add to that the fact that I've become a very good friend with a senior or former senior manager of the Disney Resorts division in Orlando. I know quite a bit about the Disney style, program, formula, system, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to customer service. And as I said before, they don't believe in customer service, they believe in extraordinary customer experiences. And Disney, if you go to one of their parks, then you will be blown away with just how good they are. Let me tell you a story before I go on to number 4 here, which was, when was the last time you went to a cafe or a restaurant and someone surprised you with a complimentary cup of coffee? Never. Before I go on to that, and before I bitch and moan about that, let me just tell you what Disney does. This good friend of mine who used to be involved in running their resorts division in Orlando has a great story. And he said, if you're staying at one of the Disney resorts or the hotels, there's the chance from time to time that, if you're Mr. Unlucky like I am, that you find that the system on, the toilet has a continual sound to it, or it just breaks, one or the other. And so you ring up, as you would in any hotel, the concierge desk, and you say to them, look, I'm sorry, my toilet's broken, can you do something about it? And they'll get normally the pretty grubby looking plumber, this is not Disney, this is an ordinary hotel, who's chewing gum, and he comes up in his overalls and, basically walks in as if he's just come from a trench and fixes your toilet. Not at Disney. What they do is that they say to you, oh, look, are you going to one of our theme parks today? Because at Walt Disney World, they have a number of theme parks. And chances are you're going to say yes, because that's why you're there. And they say, okay, well, look, we will come into your room and we'll make sure we fix the toilet for you today. If you said that you weren't and you were staying in your hotel room, they'd have someone there within, 5 minutes to fix your toilet. And whilst you're out that day, they come and they fix it. But what they do is when you arrive home from the theme parks that day, guess what? You walk into the toilet and you found that it's been fixed, hallelujah, but on top of that toilet is a little plastic Mickey Mouse toy, little plastic figurine. And it's Mickey in a plumber's outfit, of course, because they have Mickey dressed in all sorts of things, as you know, with these, sort of figurines. And then when you go to the kitchen, there might be another Mickey or a Minnie or Goofy or Pluto. And then when you go to the bedroom that the children are staying in, there might be another little plastic toy. In other words, there might be 4 or 5 little plastic figurines, those tiny little ones about the size of your thumb. Now, can you imagine when the kids come back in from Disneyland with you that day and they see these not only has your toilet been fixed, there's a message, by the way, we've fixed your toilet. If there's any other problems, then just please, press 9 on the phone for the maintenance department or whatever it might be. And hope you enjoy, a couple of little, gifts from Walt Disney World, which are these figurines. My good friend who worked for Disney said that just blows people away. Not only was their toilet fixed like that, but these figurines have just made the kids so happy. And he said it's got to the stage where when that person goes back home to Los Angeles or to Australia or England, wherever they go, and people say, what was your holiday or vacation like in Walt Disney World, they bring that story up. And when this friend of mine tells the story, he says that the response from the people who are listening to the story normally is, gosh, if that happens, I hope that when I go to Walt Disney World, my toilet breaks. So, and of course, he tells the story that, the parents because he's spoken to a lot of, not that the toilet breaks that often, but he has spoken to people where it has happened. The parents have said, my kids have gone so nuts about the, little Disney toy. He go, Mummy, look what I've got. Look, I've got Mickey and I've just gone into the bedroom. I've got Minnie, I've got Pluto. He said, if I knew that the guests have said to him, if they knew that the kids would get so excited about a little toy, they could have saved $10,000 and just bought them the toy back in London. That's extraordinary customer experiences. Talk about turning a frown upside down. You know that, if your toilet breaks in a hotel room, you go, oh my goodness, and normally it happens to me. I reckon I'm Mr. Unlucky. But imagine turning that frown upside down by doing something as good as this. That's what Disney does. If you are in their theme parks and you're asking for directions, then you are just blown away by how far the Disney employee will go. He tells me a story, this good friend of mine, that an elderly couple asked one of the cleaners one day, could they, be pointed in the right direction for something in the park? And they were quite elderly, these people, and he knew that when he was giving the directions, they couldn't keep up with him. So he put his broom and his dustpan down, left his section, and took them up Main Street into Fantasyland or whatever it was, and took them to exactly where they needed to go. By the time he came back, apparently his boss was standing where the dustpan and the broom were, and said, where have you been? And he said, oh, sir, I had an elderly couple, and I was telling them where to go. They asked me for directions, but they obviously weren't picking it up, so I took it upon myself to walk them down. They were very slow, but I took them down and showed them exactly where they wanted to go. I think it was a restaurant. And most bosses would say, well, listen, Jim, if you did that with everyone who asked you for directions, who would be cleaning up Disneyland? You just left your post and this was left for a good 10 minutes. Goodness me, if everyone did that, we'd have no one at work. But no, what the boss said to him was, shook his hands and said, good on you, Jim, that's fantastic. And I'm just really glad that you pushed the envelope and went the extra mile to deliver that extraordinary customer service. Good on you. He gave him a pat on the back. Because he left his post for 10 minutes to help out somebody, he gave him a pat on the back. That's all about extraordinary customer experiences. Think about how you can do that both online and offline. Let me bring up another one here. When was the last time you requested help online and a representative personally rang you? You know how the thing that really bugs me is that when you look online for a product or service, they have one of those really bland inquiry forms on the Contact Us page where it doesn't give you their email address. You've just got to fill that damn form in and hope that maybe a robot at the other end, because that's how you visualize it, will get the damn thing and then eventually get back to you. Why wouldn't they give you, for goodness sake, an email address? And it would be help@blah-blah-blah.com or assistance@blah-blah-blah.com. These insane auto forms that they get you to fill in, you press submit and God knows where it goes anywhere. You might get an auto responder, but sometimes you don't. Imagine if you actually did send off an email response and asked a question, and half an hour later someone from that company actually rang you. There's a thought. Can you imagine getting some personal response from a human at that company? And I'm being facetious, but I think it's something that, you know, we should consider. Have you got the ability in your business that when someone makes an inquiry, that you have a human contact them instead of either, you know, an automatic reply or maybe just another email? And last but not least, when was the last time your car mechanic gave you a courtesy car and a box of chocolates in the passenger seat? Now, this is what we're talking about, extraordinary customer experiences. Now, it sort of delves into the wow factor area as well. But can you imagine when you put your car in for service, they give you a courtesy car, and I know that if you've got a BMW or a Mercedes, probably that happens. But just if you have any other car, does your car mechanic offer you a courtesy car whilst they're looking after fixing your car that day? And can you imagine when you actually got into the courtesy car, there was a box of chocolates, or it was 2 theatre tickets to go to the cinema and watch your latest movie, okay? That's really, really simple. It's just all about providing an extraordinary customer service. I've got to tell you this one. This is a classic before I finish. My wife and myself went to a restaurant on the Gold Coast in Australia. It was a lovely steak restaurant. Not all that expensive. I guess the steaks were, I don't know, $35, $36, $37. So it was a, you know, it was a nice restaurant, but not over the top. And we walked in at 6 o'clock before the rush. It was not a Friday or Saturday. It was like a Wednesday night. And the restaurant only had 2 out of the 20 tables that had anyone on them. So we felt a bit guilty that we had not booked, because it is a popular restaurant, but we thought, well, we'll be in and out quickly, you know, 7:30 is when the rush comes. So we're at 6 o'clock, and the girl that was the, you know, sort of maitre d' at the door says, "Excuse me," with her nose up here, "Excuse me." And we said, like as if we had rabies, she was looking at it. I said, "We just, you know, can I help you?" "Oh yeah, I'd like half a dozen bananas. What do you think?" I didn't say that. "Yes, we would like to eat at your restaurant." "Can I help you, for God's sake?" And anyway, she said, "Have you booked?" And again, treating me, you know, like a Gestapo officer. And I said, "Well, no, we haven't." And she said, "Well, we're booked out." And I looked over her shoulder. There's empty chairs everywhere. And I went, well, I know you might be booked out from 7:30 onwards, but look, we are really fast. We have looked at your menu outside, and we can order straight away. So we'll be in and out within 3/4 of an hour. We'll be gone by 7:15. And she says, "I don't think you heard me." And I said, "What?" She said, "I don't think you heard me. I told you we're booked out." Like, rude as you, just incredible. Now, anyway, we will never go back to that restaurant ever again. Never, ever, ever again. However, can you imagine if she had to stand her ground because, you know, she wouldn't believe that we were going to be in and out quickly and she thought we were going to take up a table? The smarter move would have been, "Oh, look, thank you. What's your name again? John? Gail? Oh, look, we're very, very sorry, but look, we do have a full restaurant, and, you know, we'd love to fit you in beforehand, but I'm afraid the chefs just can't do that because of blah, blah, blah. But what we'd like to do is give you this voucher. And this voucher means that we will give you a bonus whenever you book in for a meal at any time in the next month. And that bonus will be that if you buy one main meal, we'll give you the other main meal complimentary, because, you know, you've been kind enough to choose our restaurant. And so we just want to thank you for putting us on your shopping list, and we want to incentivize you to come back when, you know, we're not so full. All we ask you to do is book 24 hours in advance, and you'll get VIP treatment because you voted with your legs to come to our restaurant. So just buy one main meal and we'll give you the other main meal, you know, courtesy, free, complimentary. Notice I haven't given a discount. We would have just thought that this was Christmas, because you could easily just walk next door to go to another restaurant, but we've got this special VIP coupon, voucher, that we can bring back at any time. That would have been the smart way to do it. That would have been extraordinary customer service. And as a byline to all of that, guess what? This happened around about, I think it was probably a year ago. We drove past that restaurant about a month ago. Guess what's there? A tenancy sign. It's empty. It's closed. They went broke. Okay? And because I set a curse on them. I'm evil like that. I can just curse you. No, I didn't. But I did say to my wife, look, I reckon they won't be here very much longer. And of course, my wife's heard me say that about a few businesses, and she just says, "Oh, you're just being, you know, nasty." I went, "No, if they treat people like that, they won't be here much longer." Well, sure enough, here we are a year later, and they're gone. And I reckon they're gone not because they didn't have good food, because they had idiots working for them that didn't give extraordinary customer service. Now, let me tell you what's coming up in the next module, and that would be module number 10. Let me look at my notes, and really, really exciting subject, and you wouldn't expect me to say anything else. Imagine if I said to you, coming up in the next module is something really, really boring. I'm not going to say that. It's repetitive trade. If you want to build loyalty amongst your clients, your customers, then you need to, create a system, a formula for doing that. Now, whether it's a reward program of the traditional sense where they get points every time they buy things and they save those points up to actually get a reward, or whether it's a number of other options, I'm going to go through that with you in terms of how to build repetitive trade. You don't want a customer once, you want them for life, or you want them for at least a long time. You want them to come back and back and back. So the next module, which will be module 10, I'm just looking at my notes, is all about how to simulate repetitive trade. And of course, before I end this one, I just can encourage you again, please download the written blueprint. Okay, lots of case studies and stuff to swipe off there in terms of Disney style customer experiences. Look forward to seeing you on the next module.